basically talk to the director, find out what he or she wants, and start collecting sources. And as for music, I depend on the kindness of strangers, no, the knowledge of others. Um, Eric knows, I love working with Eric because he knows music like the back of his hand. And Greg Marsanskis has an incredible library, even more than Eric, and they're a great source for music. Eric has introduced me to so much music that I would never listen to. And as far as sound effects are concerned, I see what the play requires, and I go searching through these websites that I have where I get sound effects from. And then I put it together on these different programs, which are a lot of fun to work with. And back in the day when I worked at Arena, everything was on tape. Today it's all digital. We don't use tape anymore. And it's just fascinating. I love doing it.
I have a convoluted process. I I usually start with the hardest parts of a show to light. I go for, say, for this show, we've got two specials for Chief Brompton during his speeches, and I kind of went from there. And then we've got specials with LEDs that color the windows, and went from there, and then kind of fill in the gaps afterward, because I'm trying to dedicate channels to each special, and then figure out what I have available for the rest of the show. So I haven't really done a lot of light designing before. I did a couple shows for my mother when she was directing in the high school. But since I've been back and doing more things for the Maskers, I think I've done about 6. And my favorite one is definitely As You Like It. We did a 70s version of it, so there's some psychedelic lights going on, and we had flashing lights going off at the very end. We had some specialty mood lighting, like all red, making it seem all sultry and forbidden. So that one was a lot more fun. It was a lot harder to do when we went outside, because we didn't have as many available lights. And the natural light of the sun definitely does not help with the mood lighting. But that was still a very fun show to get designed, and even running the lights and working the spotlight at the same time as running the board is very difficult but fun, honestly.
I couldn't possibly give you a number since I've been doing this for 50 years. Actually, one of my favorites was one up here, Frankenstein. The music, the what was the style? The punk. Oh God, what was punk something? But the music, the costumes, everything about that show was incredible. And Eric was true to the original book. What you see in the Boris Karloff Frankenstein is from Hollywood is nothing what Mary Shelley intended, and I very much enjoyed putting that show together. There was a lot of lightning and thunder and music, and it was just a lot of fun. And I love working with Eric. And in the show, I played Igor. And I had a couple of scenes with Tyler, who was Frankenstein, and I love working with Tyler. When you're on stage with Tyler, he gives you so much, and it's just a lot of fun to work with him. He's one of my favorite actors to work with. Yes, one that is actually not resolved yet. There are several sequences under the chief's speeches that I have to create this cacophonous background, and I haven't yet gotten inspired. I was close to being inspired before when Chris was doing it, but then Chris had to bow out, unfortunately, and now Peter is doing it, and I have to come in and watch a few of his scenes to get inspired, to figure out exactly how I'm going to do it, what I'm going to do, and what sources to use. But it's musical and rhythmic, and should be interesting.
My favorite lighting for the Cuckoo's Nest has to be the specials for Chief Bromden. He's going to be all alone on the stage, and it's kind of going to be like just a ghost light on him, that all of a sudden you're seeing into his mind, and him being surrounded by black and just his light shining down on him is really powerful, I think. And so that's trying to give that to the audience so they're actually a part of Chief Bromden's thought processes is going to be really fun. When I first started out as an actor, live theater to me was all about the cast and crew. I know a lot of people love being on stage, being the center of the audience's attention. But to me, it was so much more fun to kind of have this family that you grew with over the months of learning your lines, learning your blocking in musicals, learning the dance moves and your songs, and working with these people close is more fun to me. If we didn't have an audience, I would still absolutely love to just have sessions with crew and castmates to just do shows and enjoy yourself. But of course, the audience is a really fun experience because you get that electricity of the audience, of their reactions to your jokes and your lines, and maybe the surprise ending at the end. And it's just a lot of fun being a part of that. Even if I'm up on the booth doing the lights, I don't feel like I'm not a part of it, because every little bit and piece that go into making a show pulls you into the fun and the excitement of doing that performance for the audience.
Oh God, live theater is everything. It's the late 70s. I was a sound designer at Williamstown Summer Theater, and for the last show we did Guys and Dolls, and there was no sound in it, so I ran the light board. And the last day of the show, which was the last day of the summer, a bunch of us got up in the morning, and you can use this or not, and about 9 o'clock we dropped acid, and then we went traveling through the woods and the highways of New England, in Massachusetts and Vermont, and nobody had a watch. And every time they changed the station on the radio, we were traveling around in this Volkswagen, they wouldn't announce the time. I was the only one running the show. And I was so paranoid, I was so nervous that I was going to be late, because nobody else needed to be back at the theater until after the show when we struck. And son of a gun, we pulled into the theater 5 minutes before my call. And I went in and I was running the show, and I was looking around, and I was all, from the drug, and I thought to myself, yes, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. And I've been doing it. I didn't expect to do it when I moved up here about 15 years ago, but I got roped into doing a masker show, as a matter of fact. Oliver was the first. I did sound for Oliver, which was the first show I did in after moving up to Maine. And it was a very easy show to do. There was very few. There was only like 4 or 5 sound cues, but it got me hooked again. Because before I came up here, I wasn't doing much theater at all. I was working in the family hardware store, and I got back into it when I came up here. Well, I've learned a lot from it, but not really for the theater. It wasn't a hindrance at all, because when I create a sound plot, I work alone. I work at home. So, basically quarantining. And back in the beginning, I tested positive, and I quarantined. And if it wasn't for Netflix, I'd have gone crazy. It's interfered with my work a lot at Circle K, but it hasn't affected my designing at all.
A good thing. I'll start with the good. A good thing that's happened because of COVID is we've been able to actually do a lot of more technical stuff to this theater. Because of this downtime, we've actually been able to go up to our ceiling and start running cables that I wanted to run. We've actually hidden all of our cables now, so all you see really is just what's connecting the lights to the dimmer packs. And that has been really helpful, because before it was quite ugly. We had lines running which way, and it actually looked like a spider's nest up above the audience, which I guess could add to the mood, but it really wasn't that interesting to me. But the bad thing about COVID is really you're kind of losing yourself when you're not back in theater, doing it every day or every week, not being able to be a part of it. You're kind of losing that spark that you start in the beginning of the year. The biggest difficulty I had was moving our shows outside. We have limited power, and being able to run the lights with only 2 dimmer packs was quite the challenge. Plus the weather and the temperature and the lighting itself, the natural lighting of the sun, which is nice, especially if you're doing a show that has scenes where you're in a forest, is nice, because you're definitely in the natural lighting state. However, it's not so much fun when the sun goes down and you're trying to light outside, especially when it's cold and you're at the lighting board shivering your butt off while trying to light a show. But I'm really happy to be back now, and I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that we're going to stay open and we'll go from here. But with these new additions that we've been able to do since the theater has been closed, I foresee a lot of fun new things for the audience to enjoy.